is being presented by the Bii Jersy Paramount stool of the Ga state. It is about the state of the Gbese Chieftaincy affairs in the Ga Paramountcy. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, the media, and respective invited traditional leaders, priests, and principal elders of the Ga Paramountcy, all other protocols observed. The Bii Jersy is extremely grateful for your attending to their invitation for this all-important press statement on the state of affairs of the Gbese state in the Ga Paramountcy. This press statement is premised on the urgent need to provide public information and clarity on the traditional chieftaincy developments in the Gbese Paramountcy of the Ga state. We present this press statement in our legitimate and lawful capacity as the Bii Jersy of the Gbese stool of Gamashi. Additionally, we have the singular responsibility of upholding the dignity of the traditional royal institution of chieftaincy, especially the Gbese stool and its collective leadership aspirations, principles, and integrity. The constitutional mandate of the institution of Gbese chieftaincy is as follows. Fortunately, the traditional institutions of leadership have been recognized by various stages of our governance practices for centuries. We restate the following landmarks of the recognition of the traditional institutions for the benefit of establishing our mandates as custodial leaders of the Bii Jersy in the Gbese state. 1. The Independence Constitution Order in Council of 6 March 1957 recognized and guaranteed the institution of chieftaincy in accordance with the customary law and usage, provided for regional assemblies, mainly with local government functions and houses of chiefs in all regions in Ghana. Article 13 of the 1960 First Republican Constitution further guaranteed and preserved the institution of chieftaincy, but in the form that the government wanted it. The Chieftaincy Act, Act 81 of 1961, consolidated previous enactments on chieftaincy in Ghana. The relevant provisions of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana for the First Republic of 1960, the 1969 Republic, Second Republic Constitution, the 1979 Third Republican Constitution, and the 1992 Fourth Republic Constitution guaranteed and preserved the institution of chieftaincy together with its traditional councils. It also barred chiefs from taking part in active party politics, and that those who wish to do so should abdicate. Now, basic traditional chieftaincy mandate. The Gbese stool mandate is backed by the legal framework of various laws and statutory obligations of traditional royal authority, which consists of the following. 1. Formal recognition by the Constitution of Ghana of the traditional governance institution of chieftaincy and its various traditional leadership ramifications, principles, and institutions. 2. Creation of the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs for policy management and oversight responsibilities for chieftaincy affairs as part of the Civil Service of Ghana, which was established by the PNDC Law 327 in 1993. The ministry's objective is to have oversight responsibility for chieftaincy and religious institutions for peaceful coexistence and national development. Its specific functions and roles were provided by Executive Instrument EI 28, Civil Service Ministries Instrument 2017. It also provided recognition of national, regional, and traditional houses of chiefs, which gives traditional authorities through administrative gazetted recognition and mandates of traditional governance under the decentralized traditional leadership systems in Ghana. Their responsibilities of traditional chieftaincy and family leadership are to be accountable for their respective stewardships in a manner prescribed by law. The houses of chiefs are to undertake the evaluation of traditional customs and usages to eliminate outmoded and socially harmful practices. Now, the mandate of Bii Jersy. The royal leadership status of the Gbese stool is the adopting or second in command in the Ga Kingdom. The traditional royal leadership and its management responsibilities of the Gbese stool and the Jersey derives its authority from the collective leadership framework of the 1941 Gbese Agreement. We, the Gbese Jersey of the Gbese stool, have been extremely restrained for many years, given the critical position of the Gbese stool in the traditional leadership and governance practices of the Ga Kingdom in the Greater Accra region. This respect for the rule of law and calm royal posturing of the Gbese Jersey and the legitimate royal leadership of the 7 clans constituting the highest royal courts of authority has been misconstrued by certain opportunists and persons as weakness. This, however, is not the case. The Gbese Jersey leadership and mandate is based on the Gbese 1941 agreement. For the avoidance of doubt, the 7 royal clans and their respective royal houses and families are duly recognized by their assenting to the 1941 Gbese Agreement. That mandate recognizes the leadership of 7 royal houses of Gbese as follows: Weku Yicho Penshaku We, aka Shiawulu; Weku Yicho Tete Ankama We; Weku Yicho Akote Krobosaki We; Okai Odebai We Shipi; Weku Yicho Afie We Stu Wulomo; Weku Yicho Nyang Abodiama We Kreshi We. They also produced the Jersey chair of the council, and then the Weku Yicho of Adiakwa We, which is the Akwa Shong chair. The assembly of these principal elders of the Gbese Council is presided over by the Jersey chair from the Nyang Abodiamowe clan. Other principal elders of various houses are ex-officio members of the Gbese Council. Now, on the issue of the lawful Gbese Manche. There are 3 ruling clans recognized by the 1941 Gbese Agreement. These ruling clans are Penshaku We or Shiawulu, Tete Ankama Way, and Akote Krobo Saki Way. Akote Krobo Saki Way. These ruling clans, by a principle of rotation, provide prospective candidates for vetting and installation proceedings to the position of Gbese Manche. For the avoidance of doubt, be informed by the legitimate Bii Jersy that to the best of our knowledge, we have not, and I repeat, we have not participated in any installation of a Gbese Manche after the demise of Ni Ayite Agbofu. According to the 1941 agreement and the rotating principle of installation proceedings, the ruling clan is expected to present a candidate for installation, and this now falls on the Akote Krobosaki clan and not Na Akua Oniding stroke Akote Krobosaki way. There are also 4 royal clans of the Gbese Jersey membership that constitute kingmakers. These kingmakers from the various clans are Nyang Abodiamowe Kreshiwe, which is the principal Jersey and kingmaker, Okai Adibai, Ade Akwawe, and Afiewe. These are the 4 principal kingmakers of the Gbese stool. The Gbese Jersey, therefore, comprises the collective of the 3 ruling houses and clans and the 4 kingmaker clans and houses. This body of 7 royal clans constitute the highest statutory royal court of the Gbese stool. The Gbese Jersey principally performs all installation proceedings of the Gbese stool with respect to the installation of a Gbese Manche in accordance with the traditional protocols and principles of compliance. The totality of the installation proceedings is a process of several rites with the respective traditional and spiritual leadership of the Gbese stool and the Ga Paramountcy. We have monitored several illegal lawsuits and assertions by the late Tete Ahinakwa of Na Akua Onidin stroke Akwete Krobosaki and one Thomas Okain to the effect that Tete Ahinakwa has installed Thomas Okain as Gbese Manche. That purported installation is illegal and cannot be legitimate, since this installation was not recognized as being from the ruling Akote Krobosaki clan of Gbese. It is a known fact that Thomas Okain's purported installation as Gbese Manche failed to follow laid down traditional norms and procedures as required by the 1941 Gbese Agreement. Attempts by Ni Tete Ankama to install Thomas Okain as Gbese Manche are absolutely illegal and not in compliance with the 1941 Gbese Agreement. We state emphatically that there is legally no Gbese Manche installed by the Gbese Jersey. Additionally, per the judgment of the Supreme Court in the case number J4/20/2009, that's 2009, on the 29th of April 2010, the judgment categorically declared Ni Okainja Anan and Thomas Okain are not chiefs of the Gbese stool. The legitimate collective of the Gbese Jersey of the Gbese stool never participated and do not recognize any successful candidates or has evidence of any installation of a legitimate prospective candidate as a Gbese chief. Additionally, for the records, We are minded by a judgment of the Supreme Court again in the case under reference number JK/20/2009 on the 29th of April 2010 involving Thomas Okine, which again reinforces the legal position that Thomas Okine has no legal justification to hold himself up as Gbese Manche. In spite of the foregoing, Thomas Okine went on contemptuously to procure a gazette from the National House of Chiefs. For well over a decade, Thomas Okine has undermined the Gbese stool and the Jersey leadership. He contemptuously continues in a cynical, unlawful manner to interfere and prevent various clan leadership from performing their respective royal leadership obligations. As Gbese Jersey of the Gbese stool and the Ga Paramountcy. Thomas Okine's total disregard for the principles of succession outlined in the Gbese stool 1941 agreement, if unchecked and sanctioned, creates a dangerous precedent which serves the illegal usurpation of royal traditional leadership aspirations of legitimate royal clans, houses, families, and their people. By this press statement, we are going to formally engage and notify the respective statutory institutions to respect the judgments and rulings that stop Thomas Okine and Teta Inakwa from seeking to ignore the effects of the judgments and the rulings. The rulings categorically rebuked Teta Inakwa from presuming that Na Akwa Oniding stroke Akote Krobosaki was the same as Akote Krobosaki, specifically mentioned in the ruling of Justice Ofosu Quartey. Now on shared misconduct, Thomas Okine's claim that he was installed Gbese Manche by one Tete Ahinakwa, who was categorically told in a court ruling by Justice Ofosu Quartey that Na Akwa Oniding stroke Akote Krobosaki is not a name recognized by the 1941 Gbese Agreement, clearly establishes that Thomas Okine's candidacy to the Gbese stool is an illegality. It is our expectation that Thomas Okine would be formally called and engaged to be notified accordingly. Failure to respect the integrity of the court judgments and rulings to the effect that he was never and not a legitimate royal candidate for vetting proceedings as well as installation proceedings to be outdoored as a chief of Gbese will lead to contempt proceedings against him. By Thomas Okine's continuing posturing as Gbese Manche, Thomas Okine totally disregards the compelling of the Supreme Court's judgment delivered in his very presence, which clearly indicated that Ni Okine Anan and Thomas Okine are not chiefs of Gbese, and that the Gbese Jersey should proceed to install the legitimate chief. Thomas Okine's continuing posturing as Gbese Manche is a deliberate disrespectful contempt of the Supreme Court judgments, which requires legal contempt proceedings in the Supreme Court, the National and the Greater Accra Houses of Chiefs, and the Ga Traditional Council, and the Gbese Jersey Foi to establish strict compliance with the Supreme Court judgment. Now, this illegality cannot be countenanced anymore as a precedent to usurpation of laid down royal leadership norms and procedures for installation proceedings of traditional chieftaincy and royal court leadership. Thomas Okine further high-handedly demolished the ancestral Stool Palace without consultations and regard to the Bii Jersy for its historical preservation and relevance. Thomas Okine also is disrespectfully undermining all legitimate royal leadership of the Gbese Stool and the Jersey. Now he should cease and desist. Clearly, the Gbese Jersey cannot continue to tolerate the confusion and impunity of Thomas Okine any further. Thomas Okine has been acting for over a decade in complete disregard and contradiction of the Supreme Court judgment. The disrespectful effect of his actions on the Supreme Court judgment raises questions about his impunity and arrogant behavior and continuing negative impacts on the well-being and sanctity of the rule of law. Thomas Okine will be made to face the full consequences of his actions and continued contempt. Thomas Okine must be restrained from undermining any further the authority of the court by his posturing and unlawful activities as Gbese Manche, together with his illegal Jersey and assigns. Now, on the issue of divisional elevation of the Gbese Stool to Paramountcy. Recently, a number of divisional stools were elevated to Paramountcy status. The newly elevated paramount stools include Akamajeng, Otublohom, Sempe, Gbese, Abola, and Asren Chono. The traditional royal court divisional stools recently elevated to paramountcy require their respective structures to be realigned to reflect the specific leadership responsibilities and ranking order of their respective stools and royal courts. Following the recent elevation of the Gbese division to paramountcy, it behoves on, especially the Gbese Jersey, to provide guidance in the appropriate structure of royal court leadership arrangements in order to facilitate a smooth transition of the Gbese Jersey leadership and its royal court leadership as critical divisional structures of governance. This consultative transitional framework is critical to avoid structural distortions and usurpation of royal court leadership roles and responsibilities, principles, procedures, and protocols. We note with concern that due to disregard for the hierarchical structure of the Gbese Stool by Thomas Okine, this forebodes serious concerns, which, if unchecked, would gravely distort the established royal status quo. Now, we cannot end this press statement without addressing the concerns of the youth. So, on youth empowerment and job creation, our meeting today will be incomplete without a message of hope and upliftment to our Ga Paramountcy and especially our future leaders, the youth. We take this singular opportunity to rededicate our collective leadership commitments to influence governments and our royal leaderships to ensure the socio-economic development needs of our people so that we address them. Gamashi is the heartbeat of Accra, the capital city of Ghana. Unfortunately, the Ghana citizenry have not received any structured socioeconomic development policies to protect the indigenous people from economic challenges of urbanization. They have housing challenges, sanitation challenges, education and health challenges, safety challenges, and these make them especially vulnerable. Accra, which used to be the pride of Ghana, is engulfed in choking filth on a daily basis. Our roads generate huge air pollution, and pedestrians struggle to walk on non-existent walkways, taken over by hawkers and truck pushers and other economic activities. That is the price we have to pay for attracting huge migrants and commercial activities into our urban space. These stark challenges have further undermined our traditional and royal culture and values as a people. It is a prime objective and commitment of the Gbese Jersey leadership, working very, very closely with the Ghana Paramountcy and our spiritual leadership and youth groups to develop strategies to engage the youth especially for our cultural revival through job creation initiatives. This can only be achieved when the critical values of our collective leadership are not compromised by opportunist elements who only seek their personal gains at the expense of the collective will of the people. As a law-abiding, legitimate royal leadership of the Gbese state, we, the Gbese Jersey, will pursue all legal means to restore the dignity and integrity of our Gbese people in Ghana. We wish to thank you most sincerely for attending to our call today, and we look forward to further engagements in our quest to restore peace and prosperity to the people of Gbese and Gamashi and its towns and villages. I thank you for your attention.